Mr.
Cool.
Garrett Sherwood, welcome to the Great Wide Open Mic. I'm so glad that you agreed to have a conversation with me, and yeah, just for our dozen listeners or so at the moment, Garrett Sherwood is probably my first and best friend I've made here in Utah, and yeah, amazing musician. We'll get into all of your greatness here shortly, but I just want to say thank you, and thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah, too kind, Martin. And I'm really excited to have this conversation with you. Looking
Yeah,
forward
love
to
it.
it.
Love it. Well, I mean, the thing that I'm probably most excited to talk about, and when I met you and when I learned that you had done this, I was completely floored, still floored, but is your involvement in your writing of Deep Love, the rock opera, and the cult following that it has, and and just the amazing production and soundtrack that comes with it. So, I mean, to the few listeners that we have so far, but then to the millions that will eventually make their way to this, please explain what Deep Love was, and briefly walk through the timetable of the work and effort that you put in and what it is now.
Yeah, happy to. It's a full length musical production. It's not a musical or a play. It started really. I wrote it with my college roommate, his name's Ryan Hayes, and he's also a great songwriter and performer. And it was winter in Idaho where there's not much to do, and we wanted to collaborate. Our styles were so different though in songwriting that well, maybe it'd be easier to instead of collaborating on a song, we collaborate on a series of songs where you write some and I'll write some, and I guess there has to be a story, and it just kind of snowballed from there. We started listening to other rock opera and concept albums and stuff, and it just slowly evolved out of pure boredom. And we eventually had enough songs and a story that we're okay, I think it's done. After 6 months, it's done, I guess. And then we played it at a little food joint there in Rexburg, Idaho. It was just a couple guitars, and there was four main characters that sing through the song. And it was 25 of our friends who were also bored came, but the reaction was so positive, more than we ever could imagine. Just from that, we just kind of kept going. Well, maybe it needs some more songs, and maybe it needs a full band. And for a while we had a little orchestra, and we even tried a choir one year, and we kept doing it, and the reaction was so positive that we're well, we'll just do it again. And we kept doing it again, and it would grow, and sort of the core team to produce it kind of grew, and it was a passion project for dozens of us. This was 2011, 2012. So, and it grew and grew, and we started getting into festivals and doing little tours, and that peaked in New York Musical Theater Festival 2015, which was a huge opportunity for us to kind of do this kind of quasi off-Broadway run there. And that really pushed us to see how theatrical we could make it, which didn't really work. We tried, and it didn't really work. And we kind of, from there, veered back to just this is a rock and roll show that has sort of a theatrical flair. And that's really its core identity. And then it kind of just became this yearly tradition in Salt Lake City area and Idaho Falls area, every Halloween. And again, the fans are really who've driven it. And we have these hardcore fans who come. We tell people to come in their best funeral attire, but then we have these cult following fans who come in full skeleton makeup and all these things. And so it's kept going. I'm no longer really personally involved with it. I stepped back from performing it a few years ago. But it keeps going with different casts and different directors and producers. And sometimes they do a pure concert version. Sometimes it's a little more theatrical, but it's still very much just a rock concert, 90 minutes of storytelling through song. And then we also, we made an album version of it finally, and just a couple years ago, because the core
really
songs we wrote. Yeah, thank you. It took a lot of work, and it's a reflection of the core songs that we wrote. now 15 years ago, but then like tweaking songs, changing songs, adding new songs, cutting songs. Like it was an evolution over 10 years to finally get to a place where like, all right, now we can record it. And that in itself was a passion project. We did it very bootstrapped. It took months and months, and very pleased with how it came out. So
Yeah, I
that's
still have
definitely,
yet to see the actual production live, but I've listened several times through to the full album, and it is quite quite an opus, and really
thank
incredible
you.
that you and another wrote that and put it together. And I mean, you can hear the years of work that probably took to get to where it landed, and it's absolutely, it boggles my mind sometimes that you can walk into a coffee shop in Payson and the guy working the desk put together something so monumental. And so I think it really speaks to how much great music and how much great art is out there that is unheard, unseen by the masses.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, if anyone listening or watching has a chance to check out either the album or the production, I highly recommend Deep Love. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible songs, incredible artistry. Love it. I did want to then ask and kind of segue to I think another passion project of yours, which is the Center of the Universe, where I met you, and this little shining light in Payson, Utah, where you live. It's a coffee shop, bakery right there on Main Street. How long have you had it? You run an amazing open mic there. Like, what was the thought process behind that? Was there any bleed over from leaving Deep Love and starting the Center of the Universe, or was there ever a layover, or was it like, I'm done with Deep Love, now let's put my energy into this kind of project, or how did that all evolve?
It wasn't that cut and dry, but the timing worked out about that way. Where it was about the time that I stepped back from Deep Love to take sort of let other people sort of take the reins and go off with it. Then there was never like so I started with my partner Britt, and we've been open almost 2 years, and but there was never, at least that I can recall, like an early conversation of like, this is something we should do one day. Instead, it was more like we've been living in Payson, smallish town in Utah, and we moved here a few years before COVID, so we were here for COVID, and after living here 6 or 7 years, it just didn't feel like home still. Like, and it was like, and we kind of like, what is that? What are we missing? And it's like, well, we don't have a community here. All our friends are in Provo or in Salt Lake, and it's like we kind of know our neighbors, but it's like, only kind of. And the way neighborhoods are structured here in Utah is very different than like where I grew up in the Midwest, where it was like there's a block party and a neighborhood organization, and like it is, here it was very different. And so we we're just like, what, I wish there was somewhere we could go. That's the conversation. I wish there was somewhere we could go, I could work from, because I work remotely, and like there's not even like a decent coffee shop south of Provo. Or it's like, I wish there was somewhere I could go and like do an open mic, and it's like, oh, there's not a decent open mic south of Provo, and like, and and I was like, man, somebody should do something. Somebody should open a place like that, and that just slowly came. And I think maybe with Deep Love, like there was just sort of, I had space for energy into new things, and with my partner Britt, eventually it was like, maybe somebody should do that, turned into, well, maybe we could do that. I think we have all the know-how. Maybe I don't know anything about food service or coffee, but like in my day job, I do like operations and project manager. I could probably figure out most of it, and she is an event organizer and has incredible style and aesthetic, and multi-talented. So, and eventually we we're like, okay, we should do it, but there will never be a place cool enough in Payson that will match our vision. But then literally like that same week, this corner spot on Payson Main Street that was a bank in the 1880s and still there, it has huge stained glass windows and the original vault. It like came available that same time.
And it's
just
gorgeous.
Felt like, it felt like fate. We're just like, not only is this the perfect place in Payson for our vision, it's like the perfect place anywhere like I could possibly imagine. So we jumped right in, and haven't really looked back. And it just, it's being a business owner is hard. So I think anybody listening can probably imagine like the challenge and the grind of it. But what we set out to do was have a place where we can build a community in our community, and we feel proud and also grateful to the people, proud that we've been able to achieve what we wanted to, which wasn't like, we're not trying to build a business empire, we're trying to build a community, and it's happening. It's slow and steady as these things go, but very grateful to all the people here in Utah County, like yourself, who've kind of showed up, walked through our doors, and become a part of our lives and a part of our circle. And whether that's for some of the events we do, live music, open mics, we do this thing called Strum Circle, which is really fun. We've had all sorts of other, poetry slams, storytelling nights, artist, featured artists and things. And but then there's other people who just kind of show up because they want a place to be, and they come and hang out, and they become our friends, and they meet other people who they become friends. It's really rewarding, not just like the connections I get to make, but like being behind the counter sometimes almost feels like you're behind a two-way mirror, where I'm like, there's two people I know here at the same time, and I like watching them meet each other and forming a friendship like in front of my eyes. And it's almost like I'm invisible. And it's just happened. And then like we've had like music duos and stuff form from the cafe. We've had friendships, and we've had like lunch groups form from people we met in the cafe, and all these things. So it is a real delight to be at the center of that, and to bring something to this place that does now feel like home.
It is, yeah, it does. And I will say, to kind of your point, as someone coming from out of state, coming to Utah, and is not a member of the highly dominant religion, the LDS Church here, I was immediately kind of gravitated towards your just not only that you're a coffee shop open on Sundays, which not a lot of businesses are open on Sundays, but then also that you name your open mic Hymns for the Hymnless. I mean, it's almost divine intervention, you might say, that we got to meet, only because I mean, I immediately gravitated towards that and just was like, oh man, this is like where I feel like my people will be, and the people that I most relate to, and the people that maybe have had similar experiences as myself, and are also need community, just like I think every human on earth does. And rallying around music and around an open mic, I feel like there's not too many better options. And so thankful that you started that. I've met some tremendous people there, and have had great conversations with people like Chet and Sarah, who very much, I think, view the center of the universe as this like little nook in an otherwise, community or lack of community. It's this little nook of community where they feel they can be themselves. It's really magical.
I wish I could take credit for the name Hymns for the Hymnless. I think Britt came up with that brilliant name. But it was, we were going to do an open mic just like on a Thursday night or something kind of normal. But we were already noticing, because we are open on Sunday, that people were coming on Sunday to gather already, like meet up, and there was groups, and it's just like, I think it's the religious like underpinning of where we are, but there's like Sunday just feels like a great day to like go out somewhere and be with people. And if you're not part of any sort of organized religion, like where do you do that? And it kind of felt like people were like walking through our doors already looking for that, and they're like, well, let's just make Sunday the open mic, like that's and it
it's
like
typically your free day anyway, right? Or like your day where you have time to go meet.
So we set up the mic, and it's just kind of there all day. People come and go, and we've met a lot of incredible, beautiful people just through that event.
I mean, it's fantastic. I'm very thankful that it's there. I hope it's there in perpetuity.
Me too.
It does lead me to kind of my next question, or at least where I want to discover more about your life and musicianship is, obviously now you're a musician. You've written a tremendous rock opera, Deep Love. You've started this Center of the Universe, which is a tremendous undertaking in and of itself. I've met many other coffee shop owners who literally have to work 60 plus hours a week to like keep their business going. You guys, both you and Britt, from what I understand, both also have full-time jobs. You're also parents. You have 2 children. Like it goes without saying that that's stressful and overwhelming. Is it at times too much, or do you get enough enjoyment out of it to keep it going? Like in my mind, it feels like it could become overwhelming real easy. So, it's interesting
Yeah,
to know where you guys are at with that. And I mean, I'm so thankful that you guys do the work, but I know that it's a lot of work.
it is. It is. I won't sugarcoat that. And we have low moments where like, our toaster oven breaks and we're like, just close the whole thing down. That's it. Last straw. I can't do that. It's just like that never lasts very long. But like you have sort of these moments where it's just like, is this worth it?
Yeah.
We're fortunate in what we've already built that it doesn't take long for like a good thing to come along and kind of shake us out of that and be like, oh yeah, of course it's worth it. It is, it's financially difficult. And yeah, we do work. I have sort of a part-time job as a full-time job, and I also, work the cafe and sort of a part. So like, it's a lot of investment time. It's been a lot of investment in money. And so it's hard. It is hard. And I'm very much like I don't believe in like grind and like work for the sake of work. I think there's a really toxic culture in this country, but especially in Utah, I've seen like startup business culture where it's just like glorify how many hours you worked in a week. And I think that's so silly. And I never
To your
wanted
point,
to
if
be
I
the
can just
person.
cut in right there, I applied for this job that was based out of Lehigh, and I was real mad I didn't get it. And I actually kind of turned it down because they were offering lower than what I was hoping for. And then I found out through an acquaintance, the person who got the job, that they were complaining because they have a super grind culture, and then you only get 2 days off guaranteed a year, and that was Christmas and Thanksgiving. But they even work on 4th of July, like they work Memorial Day, and I was like, oh, I'm kind of glad I
Yeah,
didn't.
it's so wild. Or like I worked for a company for a while that had, they had plenty of time off, but it was like you still had to be available even if you're like in Hawaii on the beach. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, and you're still like taking call and like I so I don't believe in that, but I do believe in like doing good work and investing in your time in the things that bring you joy, but also like bring the world value. Sometimes those go together, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
Like there's sometimes where you're not feeling any joy necessarily, but you are that there's value.
Provided value. Yeah.
And those things come in waves, and that's okay. You don't have to be happy every minute of your life,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
and so yeah, like building a business, anybody who's built a business out there kind of knows that there's a hard mountain to climb, and for some people that's worth it. Some people maybe it's not, and that's okay too. I never wanted to be a business owner. That was never like in my mind, like something like, oh, be your own boss. And I'm like, I don't. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But this specific thing felt more like almost like a vision and a mission and a calling type of thing, where it's just like this is more than just like we want to start a business. This was like we want to do.
It almost
something
feels like just a giant art project with a community involved. And it just so happens that you actually have to make money to like keep it going, which is always unfortunate.
Yeah, that's true with most art projects and most music projects, especially, right? There's a business side to all of it.
I mean, I will be the first to admit that like we would have played much fewer shows together if there's no money involved, or like, I can't rectify taking it anytime from my family if we're not making a little bit of money or something like that.
No, of course.
That's true.
There's a time and a season in life where like playing street corners or like free gigs or whatever, but like that can't last forever, right? Like
I feel like once you have kids, those days have to become much fewer and far between when you have to put food on the table for other humans.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with understanding that people who create art deserve to be compensated for that art, right? So
I heard a great interview with
appreciate
Ben Harper. I know you're a big Ben Harper fan. One of the things that
yeah.
completely changed my mind about how to approach music and as the business side of things was I heard him in an interview, and I used to have a very idealistic, music should just be like a free art form. You shouldn't be charging to pay or to get paid. You should be handing out your music for free, kind of a thought process when I was real young. And then I saw Ben Harper and he was interviewed, and it was like, and they were like, do you think that it was like in the days of Napster and all that? And he was like, look, it's all great. And he's like, but I'm down to get paid. Like, I work really hard, and there's people who are making money off my music. And, I don't think it's unfair to me to just want a cut and a fair cut of what I'm producing, and it really opened up my eyes that you know what, there are people making money off of this. And, there is a business side that I should probably pay attention to.
Yeah. And that could be really hard for us creative types. Sometimes the hardest part about being a musician is just promoting yourself it's not even about the money a lot of the times. We want people at your shows. You don't care. You just don't want to play in an empty room, and it's so hard, and it's harder than it's ever been, even with all the tools out there today. There's so many great bands who are playing to really empty rooms, and I keep seeing the articles like Blue Dot Fever is a thing right now, where these artists are canceling tours and shows, and I think there's an economy thing there, where the economy is right now in this moment as part of that story. But even still, when you hear the Black Keys have to cancel shows, you're like, what? If they're not selling tickets, what hope do I have? But it's the hardest part for your perfect world is I just want to write songs, and then I want to sing my songs, and everybody will come and see my songs because they think they're so great, and I don't have to do any other work. That's not how it works.
Yeah, and I try to remain optimistic. I mean, even with this great wide open mic, I'm very cringily posting, but I've made it a mantra to myself. Just a couple things that I say to myself, and one is nobody knows who you are, so you need to promote yourself and then another one is you need to post at least one time every day. And I've never done that before in my life, and I've been a professional musician for 20 plus years, but I've just always thought it was so cringing to see them, see yourself degrade yourself like that. But I'm like, you know what, you just got to get over it if you want to do this. This is the time you live in. And it would have been great to live in the 60s and someone found you at a bar and signed you and then just booked you for a world tour. That would be awesome, but that's not the time you live in.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, I admire what you're doing, and that you are being consistent and diligent on that. I know how hard that is, and I think you're doing all the right things.
I mean, it's going to be all worth it. And when we're playing, on August 29th, I want there to be over 100 people there, and I'm very confident I can get a good crowd if I keep promoting and I keep building what seems to be interest in this project. So I think it's all going to be worth it. And I did book, I'm really stoked that the Toaster Oven's going to be recording it. I'm stoked. We got a videographer there too, so we're going to get some good content so that we can keep getting some more gigs.
That's the way. That's awesome.
Yeah. What I did want to ask, and I haven't even touched on yet, is, on top of all the things that you've done and the things that you are doing in your days filled, you still, you just played the Utah Arts Festival. You're still in a band, the By and By, who I happen to love very, very much. And,
thank you.
You're writing songs, rehearsing with them. Where do you guys all land on, do you agree on how much you're pushing to get more gigs? Or is it we can only realistically rehearse once every week or two? We can only I'll say from my experience, and in my 40s, when I was in a band, it was like I can't commit to more than one gig a month, like I've got full-time job and kids sports and everything. So like, what does that look like on your end and the rest of your bands? Like, is everyone in agreement? How's that look?
We're in agreement in theory.
Yeah.
In practice, man, okay, here's the thing for anybody who isn't in a band or hasn't been in a band in a long time. I hope they can understand this. Practicing with your whole band is so hard when you're like in your 30s and 40s. And we have like 6-ish people in our band. And I think we've had 2 or 3 practices maybe ever. So like in the last year where we had everybody at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it's just so hard. And my life is full and busy, as you mentioned. The other people in our band, a lot of them are in they're all talented musicians, and so they get pulled into lots of bands. So each one has at least 2 or 3 other bands or musical projects going on. So they have rehearsals and they have gigs for that, and they have jobs. And so like when it's not like it was in your 20s where like you like lived with your band, or like everybody was free, you practice like almost every night. Now it's like, when should we practice? And you like all pull out your calendars and you're like, how about 3 Thursdays from now? Because it's like the only, like it is so hard. And so like we want to play as much as we can right now. We're kind of in that phase of like finding opportunities to play. We're not going to play for free, as we talked about, but there's a lot of paid opportunities. But there's also a lot of really good bands, especially here in Utah County. So it is like competitive to get a gig, especially a decent one. So we've had to play a couple bar gigs, which are really fun. Don't pay great, but they pay something, and nobody's really paying attention. You can kind of just like grind through your songs and figure out what's working. And we've had a couple of like better opportunities here. You mentioned Arts Fest. And I think we're in agreement that like we want to play semi-regularly. I don't think anybody could actually support like playing a gig once a week. Like that would be too much of a commitment. So once a month, maybe a couple times a month through the summer is probably all we can handle. But it's also about the right opportunities, right? It's like we're all musicians, so if like a good opportunity falls in our lap, we'll take it no matter what, even if we played a gig the night before. Like, so.
Which is interesting when you've been a musician long enough. Like, even how I texted you the other day how that Sundance gig fell into my lap. I feel like when you've tried to get gigs your whole life, or when you're used to emailing a bunch before you get a single gig, whenever a gig falls into your lap, or when a gig falls into your lap, like I have gigs still from California, and they will pay good if I lived in California, but like there's no way I could make it work now. But I still I'm like, maybe I could like switch some things around and make it work, because it's just like you hate to throw away anything that falls in the lap as a aging musician.
That is true. And but it's just like we pride ourselves on being a good live band, or I guess that's the goal really of what we're trying to do, this band, the By and By. And you only get good by doing it as much as you can. And like, we wish we could be, I hear stories like the Beatles in the early, before they became famous, and playing 6 hours a night at some bar in Germany, and that's how they became great or whatever. And like, you wish you could do that, but you just kind of do as much as you can within reason. And that's, we all agree on that part.
Yeah. And you don't, you definitely reminisce the older you get that, when I was in high school and getting out of high school, I had so much time on my hands, and I definitely took it for granted. And there was many times that I either rehearsed with bands or friends for hours on end, and like, you're just jamming, or you're just screwing around and noodling around, and you don't realize how valuable or how great that time is, I don't think, in the moment, until you get older and you're like, oh man, we could have like written and been so productive. Or like, we
For
could have
sure.
we
Oh
could
my
have
gosh.
definitely honed a lot more than we did.
I kick myself constantly for like the time I wasted, and early on as a musician of like, yeah, same type of thing. Just playing around, not really like mastering my craft and just, and it's normal. Everybody does that for the most part. But yeah, sometimes it takes a decade or two to sort of like learn how to learn and you know but you get to the point and you can especially if you can link up with other really great musicians, right? Like now we have rehearsals, maybe they're only an hour or two long, but they're so productive and we're making so much progress and like um and that's just the benefit, I guess, of all the
What I
experience
do
back.
like now in my older age, and when like I've sat in with you guys a couple times, and it's been a real treat to play some of your tunes. What I do like is the older you get, the less BS you put up with in between songs. Where like, in my 20s, it would be like, oh, let's go off on a tangent and jam on something for 20 minutes and then like talk for 20 minutes and then we'll practice the next song. And it's like, let's stop with the noodling, or let's stop the drumming. Let's get to the next song. Like,
Yeah,
we
do. I mean, we do some of that still, though. It's like it's
Yeah.
super hard not to. Everybody kind of like all it takes is like 60 seconds to go by in between songs where it's like everybody's just sort of like playing their own thing. You can't even help it. You don't even realize you're doing it, and it's like. But when someone has to get home to relieve the babysitter or whatever the thing is, like it does make you sort of crack the whip a little more.
Yeah. I didn't mean to turn this into a podcast of just aging musicians reminiscing on the good times. I think that's just how it's evolved, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I'm excited to kind of watch the By and By get more gigs. I hope that anyone listening goes and listens to anything that the By and By or Garrett Sherwood has put out. Very talented group of musicians and songwriters. But yeah, I do hope that you guys get a ton more gigs and hope that you play. You guys had an incredible show that I got to watch at the Center of the Universe, and hopefully you throw some more big shows there too. I'm excited. I'm excited to announce you as kind of the third person in the set list of a growing number of local musicians, and I'll be doing that this week. And so, super stoked for you to be signing on that. And man, I look forward to a lot more shows with you. I know we do a duo shows and stuff like that. Like, it's been such a treat to meet you. I'm so glad that you're part of the music community out here, because I think that it would be much, much more boring without you.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited for August 29th and doing that. And I'm so excited for all the things you're doing and for this podcast and for this community you're building. And I think it's well needed in today's world. And so I appreciate you doing this. I appreciate you being sort of assertive and diligent and doing all this work here. I know it's a lot and I really admire it. And I love playing music with you too. And we should do more of that as well. So that's more for you than the listeners out there. But
oh, well, I appreciate it. And
we just gotta keep going.
It's really just my mom, I think, who's listening to this over and over again. So she'd probably appreciate all those kind words about her son. So thank you.
Right on. Hi, Martin's mom.
Yes.
Thank you for listening.
We love you, Mom. Hey, Garrett, thank you so much for everything, man. I'm sure I'll see you in the coming days down at the Center of the Universe. In my opinion, the best cafe and open mic in Utah, perhaps this side of the Mississippi River.
Oh man,
and
I appreciate that.
And yeah, man, I appreciate everything that you're doing, everything you've done for me already, and all the music that we've played, and all the music that is yet to come.
Thank you, Martin.
Hey, thanks, Garrett. Talk to you soon, man.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
I get so tired of waiting for someone else to be the one, to be the brave one, be the brave one. I get so tired of being on my back for everything I want. Just takes a little bit of leaning in. I wanna lean into you. just a little bit. Look at all this time I haven't been what I haven't been, what I haven't been. Look at all this time I've spent not being what I haven't been, what I haven't been. I get so tired of just looking. All those signs say no touching, and all I really wanna do is some touching. I get so tired of all this crying, or wishing and waiting that there could be something much more than the sum of my parts strewn across years of wondering why not, oh why not, oh. Look at all this time I haven't been what I haven't been, what I haven't been. Look at all this time I've spent not being what I haven't been, what I haven't been. Look at all this time I haven't been what I haven't been, what I haven't been. Look at all this time I've spent not being what I haven't been, what I haven't been. No, no, no. What I haven't been. No, 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 no. What I haven't been. No, 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 no. What I haven't been. Just a little bit closer now. 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 It took a while, but I'm closer now. Just a little bit closer now. It took a while, but I'm closer now. Just a little bit closer now. It took a while, but I'm closer.